Welcome back. Today we're going to be staying in episode 18 of Vinland Saga, and we're going to be focusing on the answer to the priest's question that he's had through the entire journey: what is love? We know God is love because in 1 John 4:8 it says, anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. And this ties in so well with the question Thorkel asked Thorfinn. He said, what does it mean to be a true warrior? Because your dad figured it out, but I still haven't figured it out. And if you look at Thorkel as a warrior, he has everything. He has strength, size, he's good at fighting, but he's still missing that one thing Thor's had, which is love, which is demonstrated when he fought Askeladd's men in the very beginning, because he didn't kill any of them. Thorkel, knowing he is lacking something, even though he is as strong as he is just a good parallel for us, that if we're so focused on our worldly possessions, we're going to feel like we're lacking something, and we don't get fulfilled until we come to God. We see the priest point to a dead person and tell Canute that that person is love itself, because he will no longer steal, he will give generously without complaining, and he is separated from the flesh. And in Galatians 5:16, but I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh, for the desires of the flesh are against the Spirit, and the desires of the Spirit are against the flesh, for these are opposed to each other, to keep you from doing the things you want to do. And you see that in Romans chapter 7, when Paul says, for I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. We can't separate our spirit from the flesh until death. And the priest says death is the essence of love, and essence is the intrinsic nature of something. And if you think back in the Bible, there's no greater love than what Jesus did for us on the cross. The priest says death perfects a person. And we're called to be perfect, as it says in Matthew chapter 5. But we know we all fall short, as it says in Romans chapter 3, and we need that sacrifice in order to fulfill that, and that was through Jesus Christ on the cross with his death and resurrection. Canute asked the priest if what Ragnar felt for him was love, and the priest says no, it's discrimination, because it's no different than fawning over a king and whipping a slave, which is similar to what we hear in Matthew 5, verses 44 through 46. After a while, Canute begins to understand, and he says a fog is lifted. And after that fog is lifted, he understands like the creation of God is so beautiful. And it's similar to Paul when he had the scales dropped from his eyes and he was able to see everything and serve the Lord. Canute asks why there's no love in hearts of men, and the priest explains to him the fall and how Adam sinned, and that we're born into sin, and that sin separates us from God. Which ties back into some points I made earlier. So God bless. Thank you for staying. I know it's been a long one, and if you haven't, I'd recommend watching this episode.